Hi and welcome to the channel. In this video we'll take you to Henley on Thames and show you the sights and what it's like to visit this historic town that's positioned right on the bank of the River Thames. Henley on Thames is an Oxfordshire town nestling in between Oxford, Reading and Maidenhead, and it's also situated 37 miles west of London. The population at the 2011 census was 11,619. Henley's riverside location, surrounded by a Chiltern landscape of wooded hills and green fields, lends itself to relaxation, long lunches and shopping in the many independent shops, still offering the personal touch. Henley is a town that offers festivals and world-class events to entertain visitors and residents alike. The heart of Henley sits just a few strides from the River Thames. The main street has many Georgian frontages covering older buildings, and among the 300 buildings within the town designated of special architectural or historical interest are St Mary's Church, the Town Hall, the Marketplace and the 18th century stone bridge, but we will come to some of these in detail later on. If you're hungry or thirsty, the paved marketplace offers a number of cafes offering outside seating, while in the town centre there are various opportunities to sample tea shops and cafes, plus a host of well-known restaurants and excellent pubs. Just outside Henley there are plentiful award-winning restaurants and pubs situated in many of the surrounding villages. These days, Henley on Thames is a town devoted to river activities. In the summer, it's very pleasant to rent a deck chair at Mill Meadows, lovely park next to the river, and also situated close to the train station. You could also make full use of this beautiful location by hiring a boat or joining one of the regular scheduled trips run from Hobbs Boatyard quite near Henley Bridge. For many years, Henley on Thames has been renowned for its impressive floral displays, making an already attractive town a beautiful place to visit. Henley has won gold in the regional RHS Britain in Bloom competition each year from 2012 to 2016. And in 2013 and 2014, it won a prestigious silver gilt medal in the national finals. Look out for hanging baskets, flower beds and overhanging planters throughout the town when you visit. In 2014, Henley's parks, including the Riverside Mill and Marsh Meadows, were awarded green flag status, recognising them as amongst the best green spaces in the country. Henley is a world-renowned centre for rowing. Each summer, the Henley Royal Regatta is a highlight of the sporting calendar. Thousands of visitors flock to the area over 5 days to be entertained by more than 200 races, with Olympians among the participants. The regatta takes place normally early in July. The event became royal in 1851 when Prince Albert became patron of the regatta. It is probably the busiest time of the year for Henley, with spectators and competitors travelling from far and wide. Local rowing clubs include Henley Rowing Club and the Leander Club. The Leander Club is world famous and home to Olympic and world champions alike, most notably Steve Redgrave and Matthew Pinsent, and the club is based near Henley Bridge. The Henley Festival of Music and the Arts is held at Henley on Thames each July on the Berkshire bank of the River Thames at the same spot and using adapted facilities from the Henley Royal Regatta, which is held the week before. The main stage floats on the river and the audience use one of the grandstands. Each evening it normally features a light classical music concert with jazz later in the evenings. There are also smaller stages, art exhibits, roving performers, outdoor restaurants, etc. Henley has had a rich history. The first record of Henley as a substantial settlement is from 1179, when it is recorded that King Henry II had bought land for the making of buildings, and the church at Henley is first mentioned in 1204. The existing Thursday market, it is believed, was granted by a charter of King John. A market was certainly in existence by 1269. During the Black Death pandemic that swept through England in the 14th century, Henley lost 60% of its population. Henley suffered at the hands of both parties in the English Civil War. Later, the town's period of prosperity in the 17th and 18th century was due to the manufacturing of glass and malt, and trade in corn and wool. Henley on Thames supplied London with timber and grain. Henley Bridge is a Grade 1 listed 5-arch structure spanning the River Thames, and it was built in 1786. The bridge links Hart Street in Henley with White Hill, leading up a steep hill to Remnant Hill. It crosses the Thames on the reach between Hampden Lock and Marsh Lock, carrying the Thames path across the river. This point of the Thames has been used for crossing since ancient times. The current bridge replaced an earlier wooden bridge. However, the remains of 2 stone arches on both sides of the river indicate the existence of an even more ancient stone bridge prior to the timber structure. This bridge has been identified by some authors as the bridge which the Romans crossed pursuing the Britons in 43 AD. This hypothesis is, however, refuted by many other scholars. The earliest recording of a bridge is in the patent rolls of 1232. In 1354, 2 granaries were leased on the bridge, which was timber on stone piers, and several chapels are recorded. It was carried away in the Great Flood of 1774, but part of the eastern abutment is built on the intact easternmost part span of the original 12th century bridge. Chantry House is also a Grade 1 listed building and is positioned next to St Mary the Virgin Church. It is unusual in that it has more stories on one side than the other. St Mary the Virgin Church has a 16th century tower and it's positioned next to Henley Bridge and as such has a prominent position in the town. The oldest dated building in the town is the Old Bell Pub, which is situated in the centre of Henley on Bell Street. The earliest date recorded for the pub was 1325. It was probably built as a wing of a large townhouse. In the 1760s, it was converted into a pub called the Duke of Cumberland. Henley Town Hall, which maintains a prominent position in the marketplace, was designed by Henry Hare and completed in 1900. During the First World War, the Town Hall was used as a Red Cross Voluntary Aid Detachment auxiliary hospital. Tablets commemorating the lives of service personnel who had died in the First World War were erected on either side of the main doorway in the early 1920s. Additional names were added at the bottom of the tablets after the Second World War. The Town Hall continued to serve as the headquarters of Henley On Thames Borough Council for much of the 20th century, but ceased to be the local seat of government when the enlarged Wallingford District Council was formed in 1974. The building subsequently became the meeting place of Henley On Thames Town Council. Henley has had several notable people associated with the town. Firstly, I'll talk about the infamous Mary Blandy. Mary lived from 1720 to 1752 and resided at Blandy House, her family's home in Henley. In 1752, she was hanged for the murder of her father, Francis Blandy, who had opposed her engagement to a Scottish man who was already married. She did away with her father by poisoning him. Mary is buried with her parents at St Mary the Virgin's Church, despite that being forbidden at the time for a murderer. She is said to haunt the Kenton Theatre, the family house and St Mary's churchyard. Author George Orwell, who wrote Animal Farm and 1984, spent some of his formative years in Henley on Thames. And finally, the singer Dusty Springfield has a gravesite and marker in the grounds of St Mary the Virgin Parish Church. During her 1960s peak, she ranked among the most successful British female performers on both sides of the Atlantic. Her image, marked by a peroxide blonde bouffant beehive hairstyle, heavy makeup, as well as stylized gestural performances, made her an icon of the swinging 60s. Dusty suddenly died in 1999, and her ashes were scattered in Henley and in Ireland. Each year, her fans gather in Henley to celebrate Dusty Day on the closest Sunday to her birthday, which was the 16th of April. Marsh Lock is situated upstream of Henley, roughly about a 10-minute walk. It's definitely something to visit whilst in Henley, as the walk along the river bank to the lock is beautiful. There are records of a lock here that date from the early 1400s. Back in the 17th and 18th century, the lock saw a wide range of goods being carried to and from London in heavy barges. Produce such as wool, timber, grain and malt all made their way through Marsh Lock. Because the lock is unusually situated on the opposite side of the river to the towpath, a long wooden bridge was built from the Oxfordshire bank to the lock island below the weir, and then back again to the river bank above the weir. This feature is unique on the River Thames. Well, we really hope you enjoyed our trip around one of the most beautiful and quintessentially English towns England has to offer. If so, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to receive future tours of lovely and/or interesting locations such as this. Bye for now.